Welcome back to Canadians Leading with Impact. I'm Kevin Crone, and I am excited to be talking to our guest here today. When I think about Canadians Leading with Impact and who do we need to talk to that's on the cusp of what we need to do with our teams and businesses and technology, I think about Mehdi Rahman. And I actually, Mehdi, I'll introduce you a little bit here, but when I think I tell you this all the time. Well, I talk about you fondly, always. But I talk about you in the context of being a momentum builder. And when we first met, I was really into this idea of leaders in organizations. They're creating some kind of momentum, positive or maybe not so positive, but it's unconsciously, you make some progress towards something and then you revert back to the way we are, or the team is. And so when I met you and watch you operate in organizations and with each other, I said to myself, this guy is a momentum builder. And I have this sense that no matter and I've seen this firsthand, no matter where we put you, we could drop you in any company, small or large. You could look around, ask a few questions, and get things moving in short order. Isn't that the sense you feel like?
That is me. I love that. I love that. I appreciate that's the way you look at me. That is kind of the brand that I've always kind of wanted to be. Not just, words, but actually do it, right? So, man, I appreciate that. Those are really kind words coming from you.
Right on. Well, I'm grateful for you joining us in this conversation. How to lead with impact, especially today. Just a little background. Mehdi's a HR professional. He's worked with large organizations, has built some of the largest brands, works with largest brands in Canada, and has really helped them be successful. But you're not an average. I always say this. You're not an average HR person or the usual kind of HR. You're very entrepreneurial. You have this entrepreneurial spirit. You bring that spirit of creativity, innovation to every organization, and I think that's the kind of makeup that you bring. Always on the forefront of things. And
Wow.
anything else
Man,
we'd like to add in there?
I'll take all of that, and then we could talk about the context of all of that. But man, I should hang out with you more often because when I take inventory, I am very proud. I've had the opportunity to grow and lead McDonald's, 77,000 employees here in Canada, 1,400 business units. Looking after their employment brand. I was very, very proud and honored to bring Best Buy to Canada back in '02 and help with that expansion of a American brand. And I've had the opportunity and luxury of working for multinational organizations in Publicis and Luxottica, and then a Canadian powerhouse in Spin Master, and many others. And so really privileged as a Canadian, born and raised here in the GTA, and really excited about the story that's going on in Canada. But there is a lot of hard work ahead of us. So yeah, we should get started and talk about all that.
Let's talk about it. And that's where we met Spin Master
Yeah,
and working together there, and that was great. What an organization! All those
what an
organizations.
organization.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You keep saying this is a big moment in time, for just for Canada, but for in history, for business and the world. What do you mean by that when you're saying?
yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of context to that. I think if luckily I did my master's in innovation leadership, and it was kind of focused on the fourth industrial revolution. And COVID brought to light technology, and it kind of was a catalyst to a lot of change. I think in history it'll turn out to be like a sentence in textbooks, but the real change is happening after that, and it really catapulted us into this new world where we have all of human history at our fingertips by way of like agentic AI or AI and LLMs and those things.
Mm,
So we have technology and like the peak of technology all at our fingertips, and almost coming down in price day by day.
Mm,
So we have like intelligence, we have technology, and then we have people
mm,
in this new generation of young people that aren't stuck in paradigms that, maybe I was or others were. And so I really do believe that there's about to be a renaissance almost of
mm,
like works and bodies of exquisite beauty that
mm,
will transcend space and time. And we're about to see it. I know that there's a lot of doomsday prophecies about AI and things like that. And there will be negative effects for sure.
mm.
No different than what the calculator did to people, no different than what, Excel and Microsoft and the Microsoft Office did to people, or a fax machine. I do
The
think,
internet.
yeah, the internet, all those things affected humanity, affected jobs, affected people, affected how people worked and worked together. And so we just got to get our bearings around this. So I do think that textbook, COVID will be that first sentence. And then the chapter is written right now.
Particularly, you mean around the impact of AI? Is that the
Well, the impact of, I think I'll put it, it's like a trifecta, like
yeah, yeah.
AI and academia and knowledge and
Mm,
people and human behavior.
mm,
All three of those things will find some way to like work together
mm,
and like really impact the way we do things, right? The best of technology and all the amazing things that we're doing today, and the best of humanity and people and like how we work and do things together. They're going to converge and they're going to play off of each other. How they're going to play off, that's still undefined,
mm.
right? And so, what I'm excited about for all of humanity right now and Canadians is we just got to get our bearings, right? There is a fear and a fear of the unknown. But once we get our bearings, then I think we'll be able to, create works of astounding beauty that will transcend space and time.
Right on. You're such a visionary, a big picture view of things. I appreciate that. I'm talking to business people all the time, and I'm always asking them about the impact of all these changes and new technologies and I'll say something. How are you guys dealing with it? Like what's the mindset? What's the and
Yeah,
they will say stuff like, "Oh boy, it's very intense right now. The amount of change, the amount of opportunity, it's intense." Is
yeah,
that how they describe it? Is that what
yeah.
you?
There are some headwinds that we are dealing with. Everybody's dealing with in our organization. We're dealing with. I'll break them out into a couple of different issues, or kind of mindsets. One is about us as individuals and leaders of self. We there are some people that are early adopters. If you look at an adoption of technology, there are folks that are playing with AI, playing with different kind of like tools and experimenting with prompts. Though I think everyone's going to have like their natural adoption rates on that. We're still early in that, and the people that are not using AI or not using technology and different forms of technology, does not just AI, but seeing what's out there in the market or seeing how their work could be better or more efficient, I think the ones that are in it and playing and experimenting, they'll fare well, right? And the other ones, they will get there. It's going to just happen, but it's
Right.
more about like, are you going to be passive about it, or are you going to go out and try to experiment with it? I have partners that aren't using AI even as an editorial tool,
Mm,
but like, and they're spending a lot of time. And then there are partners that are doing, 2 days of work in 3 minutes, right? And
mm,
of editorial work.
yeah.
And, there's shadows ties to each. But, I do see people getting out of the gates faster that are using technology. And if they're using the idea of progress over perfection,
Mm,
and they're using technology to get progress over perfection, I think those are the attitudes that are winning as individuals. Then there's like, leaders of others. Um, you know, they're having challenges with having enough people doing the work, having people concentrating and focused. And again, technology could be the aid to augment those teams. So if I have a team of 10 and I lose two people, the first inclination or thing that I should be doing is seeing what technology could I give to my existing 8 people to help them do the work of those 2 people that we missed. Not saying don't replace them. I'm not saying eliminate more people, but I am saying like live with the reality that you may not be able to find 2 replacements. And so in the meantime, we can't wait. We got to keep moving, especially given the context of what's going on in our local economy, global economy or national economy, global economy, regional economy. Like we can't wait, right? And then there's business people, as leaders of enterprise, leaders of business. I think there are a couple headwinds there that we got to look at. One is tech debt. The idea that I created my business using specific technology. Now I should re-look at this, look at how my business is doing, how my business is using people and technology, product and technology, or service and technology, and process and technology, and say, could I create a new tech roadmap, right? Again, it could be as small as you as an entrepreneur that's selling on, some of the platforms like Amazon or wherever. It could be using, like you using other technologies, very basic for your service or your product. But again, what was my technology path forward? And can I challenge it and really do something different with it? And then also understanding that I may not have enough people in the future to do all the work that I've been wanting to do or the vision that I've had for myself. Again, how am I using technology to that? And, again, what got us here is not going to get us there. So I've got to reflect on my own biases about technology or how I work or how I, am approaching business. And I may need to set the reset button and just challenge myself. But again, the folks that are challenging themselves, the folks that are saying that there's a great opportunity right now, they're going to take advantage of these changing markets and these changing headwinds. So, those are some of the thoughts I have for individuals, for, leaders, and then enterprise leaders or business leaders that are out there.
I love it, breaking down to those audiences right there. One thing that our team right now is on that note of challenging, pushing the reset. We're really pushing ourselves right now and learning a lot. We use AI to coach ourselves, to coach each other. How, given my business, what should we be doing? Given my role, how could I be using technology more efficiently for myself? And let AI teach us, like where the opportunities are at each level there. If you think about, because the audience for this mostly is, business owners and operators and founders of businesses for decades. And you can see their hesitation with all of them that you described. Any advice that you would give to these guys, to these leaders, these great leaders that have built just great businesses and have legacies and worried about succession? And
well, first I have to say to them, congratulations. Like, to be able to, the statistics on businesses here in Canada or across the world on, running a successful business, that's tough. Like, and so congratulations to all those folks that are here. And what I am excited about and what I would challenge everybody is first principles, this idea of first principles. Like, why did you get into this business? What is it? Was it about people? What was it about the product or the service that you offer? What was the process that got you here? Right. And I think doing an inventory of that, like, I'm proud of these things. And then again, going back to first principles, if I have those, and again, I have academia on my side that I could, that could be influencing my AI and the technology, how can I look at and re-baseline myself on my first principles, people, product, process, and just get back to like, is my product aligned to my customer base? Like you talked about it in this, just right over, your audience, right? As business people, do we know our audience? Some of the companies that I've gone to, I'm consulted with or worked with, we've some of us lost our ways and we forgot who is our number one customer,
Right.
right? Who is our number, and what are the demographics of them, the psychographics of them?
Mm.
How are they using technology? How are they? And so let's meet them where they are, right?
Yeah.
And go back to first principles about who is my customer, and then the other part of that is like my competition. It's changed. My
Mm.
competition used to be the business down the street, but now it's not only the business down the street, it's the regional business, like a
Mm.
regional competitor, a national competitor, and then a global competitor. And what I love about leveraging technology and AI specifically to help us with market research, before I remember I would have to spend $10,000 or
Mm.
months on market research,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
And to create a business plan. Now we could do that in 3 minutes. And I'm not saying it's perfect. I actually would probably even give it a grade. Whatever AI is spitting out is probably a grade of 45 to 65%.
Yeah.
But I'm faster out of the gates,
Right.
right? And I can
And it
test my
triggers thinking,
hypothesis.
right? Like it triggers the thinking of what's missing here.
Yeah. But going back to your question, like, what can we do as business people and those leaders that are successful? First, like, I think taking pride and ownership of like, man, I've been doing great. I've got it here so far, but I know what got me here is not going to get me there. So
Mm.
let me think about my first principles on that drive home tonight, or as I have coffee, or as I close my door in my office. Let me think about my first principles. Let me think about product. Let me process, people, and then let me think about my competition, and let me ask and get some data. And then I think, like, especially the type of people that you and I engage with, man, these are amazing people. Once you
Mm.
get a couple good principles down, the momentum starts, right? And then I hold myself accountable, and then I hold my leadership team accountable to that and share my thoughts and get their buy-in. And then from there, my people, right? Like, so you think, going back to the compliment that you mentioned about me earlier about momentum building, what I am proud of always is like, it's progress over perfection. And we want to take the little wins, and a little win is research, and a little win is inventory, a little win is thinking, and then a little win is also like challenging my mindset. Take that little win, celebrate it, and then it will grow in momentum, and get to bigger wins, and eventually, like really big, massive home runs.
Amazing for you to outline a framework to rethink ourselves and our business and the principles first and honor what got us here.
Yeah.
And it's a great framework for us to move forward, how to move forward, today. Yeah, I was thinking. I think most people, in their adoption, say, of technology, AI, they're mostly using it, from what I can tell, for productivity purposes. And wouldn't you agree? Like that's
Yeah.
mostly where.
I'm seeing that. Yeah, I'm seeing it again, like, the emails, the copy for your website, the
Right.
copy for, you know, a grammar check, all that stuff, and then the technologists that are out there, the full stack developers and things, they're looking at their code. Like they're getting a lot of productivity that way. What, and I think these are like basic, right? These are great starting points.
Yeah.
The other day, I personally used it for, a proposal,
Right.
and so that, like, that was normal. But for my own research, it created me my own website to be able to put that into the proposal.
Right.
And again, what would have cost probably $120,000, 60 to $120,000,
Yeah.
probably would have costed 8 to 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks of work. Literally was done in 3 minutes while I went to grab a coffee, and what came out was better. And so, I think as we test, and experiment with it, we're going to learn, all the things that it is capable of. Some of these models are capable, and platforms are capable of, and they are going to blow our own minds.
Mm.
And it's not going to be just about productivity. It's going to look at the way we think about things and challenge the way we think about things. And like, it's going to open up the world of possibility,
Right.
right?
Right.
I don't need, strategists and marketers and all this stuff to get my MVP, my minimum viable product, my pilot product, or my thesis down, it will get me like so much faster, so much quicker, so that I could test things, fail, and move forward, right? And so that's where I think we haven't even broke the surface on this at all, right?
I I
Yeah,
agree. I think
yeah,
there's just so much opportunity. That's why I'm kind of marinating in this right now, talking about this, because I want to encourage our fellow business Canadian leaders here get into this process to speed up the iterative, creative innovation
yes, yeah,
process here. It today demands it, and if we don't have a mind for it, if you don't have a mind for that right now, find somebody get somebody beside you that does, and
yeah.
work together on
Yeah,
this.
and I think when we say work together, the inclination I have, or the thought is like, we got to sit together for long periods of time.
Right.
I had one partner
You
who
you don't. Yeah.
all I did was we sat together, we had coffee, and then I just showed him, this is what I do on my Copilot or my Chat
Yeah.
GPT or my
Yeah.
Claude, and like, what's on your mind? What are you working on?
Yeah.
Throw it in.
Yeah.
And just them, and then let's download it on your phone. And then
Yeah.
while you're watching football or baseball or, like at your kid's sport game, try to be attentive, but like also just play with the idea, and use it for different things, not just business, but personally. I talked openly about mental health and my own journey around
Mm.
mental health, and I've leveraged AI as someone to talk to, right, and
Yeah.
help me get back to who I am and my own principles,
Right.
right. And so, it could cure a lot of or augment, maybe not cure, but like it could support a
Mm.
lot of people on their own personal journeys. The things that are holding us back from greatness, right? I think it could help with that. And, I always I think it's a, old quote, like, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate, but powerful beyond measure. And
Mm.
this tool allows us to remove those obstacles that are holding us back from being truly exceptional in our own arenas. Again, it doesn't have to be you're a business person, right? Or like, leader of enterprise or your own business owner, as entrepreneurs, people that are working in organizations, working for others, this also is something that'll help you, bring your authentic and best self to work, right?
Mm.
I just play with it, right? Download it and play with it.
Yeah. 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 Right on.
I mean,
Well,
I
yeah.
also, and I think, as we all kind of work together and are hang out and we keep the someone else, your point, which I always appreciate, having other people around you, your tribe,
Mm.
right? And that's why I've always kind of appreciated what you do is that you've built an amazing tribe around you that's always growing with,
Mm.
similar principles and beliefs, right? We all support each other and we inspire each other and, play off of each other. And there are going to be moments and we all know them now, like with mental health in the workplace and in life, that there are days that I'm going to be down and I need you, and vice versa, right? And now we have this augmenting tool that will help support us as we continue to make inroads. Like, and the Canadian economy needs us all, right now, or in the North American and even the global economy. I really do believe leaders really need to step up right now and make impact all in their respective arenas, right? And keep
Mm.
on um, you know working with the people in their communities to like make impact. But
Mm.
again, I honor what the tribe that you guys have.
Yeah. Well, yeah. On that, what we're, an event that we have coming up on May 28th. We're some space, a couple, and then we're inviting business leaders, owners, and operators online to tackle this subject, the AI tsunami. It's coming. It's here,
Yeah,
and let's get together. Let's talk about this. Let's go through it in a structured way that will make it practical for everyone. And so, looking forward to that,
yeah,
because we just need to
yeah.
create these
The
spaces
space.
for everyone to overcome their anxiety of it and just embrace it and look at the opportunity. One of those opportunities that you highlighted and that I like to highlight is, and we like to highlight here, Troy, our business partner, is AI and technology is great for um, productivity and getting things done faster, getting you quicker to things faster
Yeah,
to
yeah.
move from. But
Yeah,
if we're not using it from a strategic point of view, like you outlined here, market research that used to be, man, oh,
every day,
yeah. So
every day.
now it is so available and it can
Yeah,
help us adjust our strategies and thinking in real time, like in
yeah,
every day, so that as our clients, our customers, our ideal customers, they're rapidly along with everyone. And if we're not keeping up with their motivations, what's changing for them, and what we're offering to them right now, if we're not keeping up with that, we're missing,
yeah,
the you're keeping up with the opportunity. And furthermore, as a changing and their what them and what they need and what problems they need to solve, that we can help them solve. If we're not in tune with that, well, when we are in tune with that, we're gonna find greater opportunity to serve them, and it's gonna open up possibilities.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. One of the things that that you're talking about, and the commonality between the businesses and business people that are successful and the ones that are struggling right now, I think is also they're around the word time.
Mm,
I think, or what I've noticed in my 25 years working with some of the biggest and best, and some of the ones that are aspiring,
mm-hmm.
is um, the idea that people they think that they have time, right? They think that the of AI is coming,
Right.
right? Some of us have also, but some of us believe that it's here. Some of us believe that it's, like we're already in it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of great concepts out there right now about what you can accomplish in one day, one week, one quarter,
Mm,
right? And holding yourself accountable to say that there isn't a lot of time left, right? And I think that's where some folks that are later in their stages of career, they're getting things done. And it's why? Because they don't believe that they have a lot of time left, right? And so as a result of that, they're saying, I got to take an opportunity today, right? These are the days of our lives. This is going to pass. What's the most important thing I need to do, right? And
mm,
deal with it, right? And
mm,
again, progress over perfection, right? I think some people are maybe thinking that I could deal with it tomorrow, but there is no tomorrow in some ways, right? I
mm,
want to deal with the three most important things today, then tomorrow, the three most important things, and then seeing progress over a
mm.
quarter. And then sometimes that quarter becomes better than the year that you're going to have, right? And so, I would challenge those folks that come into that room on, in May, to be like, yeah, it's not a thing I planned for. It's a thing that I got to deal with now. And
Wow.
what is the most important thing I need to deal with that?
You're making me think of, I believe it's Steve Jobs, obviously one of the best innovators and relentless
Yeah,
executioners, with all kinds of principles behind him. But I think it's that made famous this idea here is, what is indeed the most important thing
yeah,
that we need
yeah.
to focus on. Let's get that done today.
Today, and
Today, right?
progress over perfection doesn't have to be perfect.
Mm,
Doesn't have to be perfect. Just progress over perfection. And then I think there's like a Bezos idea. Like if I do three things today, what are the three things that I'm going to get done today? Just get them done out of the park. Then go and golf. Go and have time with your family,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But then there are people that like just lament over all the things that they need to do, and like you do need to honor your feelings for sure. If you're overwhelmed, right? Let me make my bed. Well, there's the other, another famous author right now that just talked about getting up, making your bed.
Yeah,
Win. Like I'm winning today just
yeah,
by doing my bed, right? That
yeah.
that really helped through some of my rough spots. That I was like, you know what? I didn't get a lot done today, but I got out of bed and I made my bed. I got 2 wins out of the day, right? Let me get
Yeah.
one more win out of the day, right? And
Yeah.
and then like maybe I need to pack it in for the day because this is not the day I'm gonna like hit a home run. I'm just gonna get a single out of it. And so, I'm sorry to the folks that don't like baseball or
Yeah.
I'm using
No.
baseball analogies, but yeah,
No. We love
right there we go.
baseball.
But yeah, a game of singles, right? The money ball. Like
Mm.
again, like what's one thing we could do? Get on base, and then from there, like the momentum will start swinging in our way. I do love stories like Steve Jobs and Bezos and all that stuff, but I also hate those stories
Mm.
because not all of us are gonna have that opportunity,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of us are regular people that have fears and anxieties and mortgages and rent, and we'll always be there. And so in the meantime, what are the most important things I need to deal with from a business perspective and then maybe personally, and then separating those things.
Right on. Mehdi, this is amazing. You can see why everybody why I call him the momentum builder. Having a conversation with Mehdi energizes you, gets you focused, keeps you grounded and
Oh, I
human,
appreciate it. Yeah,
and you always appreciate that. That's how I see it. You're not just a person of getting stuff done and being business oriented and productivity. No, you're on the human side, real appreciative of the human experience and what everyone's going through and what they need from an emotional standpoint and a success business principled standpoint. And
yeah. I mean, the last thought I'll leave you with, just to kind of like round that out, and I'll never take credit for this. I read a lot. I work with amazing people and surround myself. You know, the there's this idea that leadership is working through and with people for
mm,
shared aspirations, right? And I've seen that. Like I've seen when we have a vision or an aspiration, and I've seen the power of people individually and then together. And I do believe in that definition of leadership through and with people for shared aspiration. I challenge everybody, again on this call or out there, not only in Canada but around the world. Like, what is the vision, right? What are you trying to work towards? And rallying people and all of us to see it and own it and do something about it, but like working through and with people for shared aspirations. And the tribe that you surround yourself with, Kevin and Troy. I wish you guys success.
mm,
Like let's continue to again know ourselves, know the people we're working with, build those strong relationships, know our product, the competition, everything about it, know processes, and then see how technology can help aid all of that,
mm.
and support us towards getting to this vision. And let's win, right? This is a great opportunity, great time, and there's no time like the present to make an impact. So let's all keep working along, and I'm available to you and your tribe anytime.
Right on. Right on. Let's win. Challenge accepted. I saw this. I love this quote. I love this quote. The idea that the world is changing, and I'm on the transition team.
Yes, sir.
Mehdi, you're on the transition team. You're
All
leading
of
the
us.
transition, and I appreciate that you're a Canadian leading with impact. Great inspiration here for me, and I know for everybody. So thank you for the conversation and your time today.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Good luck to everybody.